This is volume 2 on why they hate Spence. I mean, it's a given. You know, the man's greatness personified, and he's winning. He's gonna keep on winning. So the hate's gonna keep coming because it started with a blessing from Floyd. Then it came with great business attributes from Al Heyman. And Al Heyman and PBC always been hated. So that hate, it has to dissipate down to Errol Spence. But we're gonna get it in. Make sure you hit that like, share, and subscribe button for me, please. And I'm going to start back going live in July so we can have group discussions and family discussions. So make sure you join so you don't miss out. It's your boy, Upper Echelon. Enjoy the movie.
Inside the dressing rooms.
Would you care to comment on how you plan to fight?
Terrence Crawford.
What's your strategy?
Don't need any.
Terrence Crawford.
Predictable and stupid. The man comes straight ahead. He's tailor-made for me, and he's gonna get hurt.
What's your prediction for the fight, then?
Prediction?
Yes, prediction.
Pain.
Earl, you look spectacular out there. I don't think nobody can beat you right now, Earl. They always talk about your resume, saying that you ain't beat nobody or your competition ain't up. Now what they gonna say now that you done beat the hell out of Crawford? Now that you done stopped Crawford in his tracks.
You do it. And you beat the real champion.
Where's the stretcher? Somebody sent for us again.
What started out as a joke has turned out to be a disaster.
Creed appears to be in very serious condition.
The man alive.
If he dies, he dies.
Big Fish, man, down strap season, the biggest smoking on Bud tour. I'm out.
You get Jaws out there. Now you think it's safe. No, Jaws ain't the epitome of greatness. There's something out there much bigger. Yes, you got it. And here comes Super Bud. Come through and snatch it up. All is well in the world, right? Or wrong. You forget the Megalodon. Bud might have caught Jaws in the ichthyosaur, but he ain't ready for the Megalodon. And that's the big Spence, the Megalodon. Matter of fact, he ain't even a Megalodon. Errol Spence is the biggest. How can you measure what ain't been measured before? Captain Ahab reaching out fishing. You gonna catch something that you ain't mean to catch right there because you can't catch the uncatchable, the Leviathan. Earl, the true Spence, strap season, man down, smoking on Bud tour. Danny is a hater. Danny is a hater.
Take a punch. He's like Spence is a middleweight, like in a welterweight body. And I think that's why he could take a punch so well at that weight. But both of them get hit, and I think that's what the fight is going to be interesting.
We sparred more rounds. We started sparring early because of that. So we made a lot up from the missed time. You know what I'm saying? Plus my head was always in the game. I'm always shadow boxing. I'm always jogging. I'm always watching boxing. So if your head's in the game, like if you completely separate yourself from boxing, like don't watch it, don't do nothing, get fat, then you come back. That's the advantage.
To keep it calm, but forget that, man. People love it when you.
Yeah, but that's what sells. Fans take money out. Right. You gotta. It's a business at the end of the day. It's an entertainment business. Mm-hmm. So you gotta hype it up. I mean, you don't gotta say nothing bad. You know, but listen, I'm gonna love you. It's a business at the end of the day. Anybody can go up there and just talk humble. You gotta talk what you feel. You can't be fake. You gotta be real. It's gotta be you. You natural. Just be you.
And Danny, you know, you've been one of the most accomplished fighters in the sport the last 10 years, the last decade. What are people getting wrong? What are they overlooking about you, bookies, anybody that's overlooking you in this fight?
No, I don't know. I can't worry about that, to be honest. All I can worry about is what I do. And that's hard work for me.
You know,
I can't worry about.
You know, a lot's been made about your counterpunching and those things. Do you think you have more skills than Errol Spence?
Yeah, definitely. You know what I'm saying? I've been at this level longer than him. So in order to be at this level for a while, you gotta have the skill level and the hard work. And that's something I always did.
Are you looking to test him earlier than maybe, you know, usually you like to take your time and figure things out, but are you going to try and press him early to see if his punch resistance isn't the same after that accident? Or?
You're going to have to see. Come December 5th. You're going to have to see.
Is that part of the game plan at all too, Angel?
Listen, man, we're going after it. Every respect the man as a fighter. Don't get me wrong. I disrespect his as a fighter, as a champion. He is a champion. I receive him.
What do you feel is being overlooked about that?
He's not there on the way mentally. It's a mental thing. There's a mental thing, spiritual thing, and a physical. He's not there. You could try to lie for him and cover him up. I can see it, man.
Wouldn't it mean...
I can read his soul, man. He's not a bad person. I just read his spirit, you know. I can see it.
Doesn't it say something, though, that he jumped right into the fire again against a fighter like Danny?
He got people, medical people say he's clear. So you can't, to me, honestly, all doctors ain't perfect. You know what I'm saying? Because I've been through shit. The doctors almost killed me in operating room. You know, and I've seen family members of mine that have been killed by medical malpractice. So doctors ain't perfect all the time.
See, we about to cut through all the bullshit and all the red tape. See, what had happened was you thought you was a better fighter. You thought you had more skills. You thought you was superior to Spence. But you found out a very hard way that you're nothing compared to that man. That man is an elite fighter and you're just average. You lost your damn fight with Sean Porter. You lost to Keith Thurman. Every time you had a step-up fight in 147, you lost. You sitting here living on your glory days from the 140 era. You beat Amir Khan because you hit him with a no-look hook. You was getting your butt whooped in that fight. And see, now you talking about you have anxiety. No, anxiety is you getting in the ring every time when people told you was the best and you would make it, and you keep getting thrashed. You keep getting spanked. You keep getting whipped by another man. That's why you feel anxious. That's why you have anxiety, because you know you are less of a man because you done lost to not one, not two, but three men in a hand-to-hand combat sport that matters imano. And you feel short 3 times. And the first 2 you was okay with it because it was close. But see, this one was by such a wide margin, such a chasm, that it shocked your equilibrium. The same thing happened to Mikey Garcia. That's why he went ahead and retired. And now you sitting here making all these damn excuses talking about you was 40, 30, 50%. No, before the fight started, you said this is the best camp Danny's been in. This is the best you've seen Danny Garcia. This is the best version of Danny Garcia. And then when you hear Spence talking about he was only 40 and 50%, now you got to cap. You got to be Mr. Me Too and say, it's the same with us. We wasn't ready to. Stop the bull. Stop the presses. If you the one, like you said it was the best of you. What y'all thought was y'all caught Spence when he was vulnerable, just like your dad said. Y'all thought he was half of a man. He was coming back from the car accident. Y'all felt like it was the best chance that y'all had to take Spence because y'all felt like he was a wounded animal and y'all felt y'all was gonna pounce on him. But the problem was he flipped the switch, turned the trap, and tore your ass up. He about took your eye too, Danny, but he took the foot off the gas in the 9th round. That fight was nowhere near close. You're talking about the only difference was the jab. The jab beat you up, and it beat you up bad. And what's crazy is I used to have respect for you because I said, okay, you talk your loss like a man, and you understood it was just nothing you could do because you couldn't get past the jab. First off, that showed that he was more supremely skilled than you because he kept you at bay with a jab. He controlled the distance, range, and he was letting shots off. You even stole off on him when the round was over, a clean hook shot, and he just wiped your shot off. That right there showed you that your power was nothing. And that's when the pit of your stomach grew to the size of a black hole because you realized, I just gave this man my best shot and he didn't have his guard up and he still ate it. Yes, he ate it, Danny Garcia. That shows you that y'all are in 2 different stratospheres. While you sitting in Earth's orbit, this man is going past the sun, moon, stars, and the quasars. This man's going to a new universe. That means you and him are not alike and would never be. Even on his worst day, you couldn't beat him on your best day. And that's just the way it was, Danny. And now you sitting here talking about you will beat him now. What's changed? He's done gotten bigger, faster, and stronger. And if he come up to 154, he's going to stop you. And it's going to be a brutal stop. And he might take your eye with it, Danny. Because the bigger Earl is, the better he is. See, he's shrinking down to 147. What you fail to realize, the best Errol Spence will be in 154 or 160. And you struggle with David Benavidez because you didn't drop him, but you did put on a nice performance. But you struggled with the power. You didn't take him out. But you looked it good. You was fast. You shoe shuffled. But that don't mean you can stand up with Earl. And that don't mean you can stand up with Charlo. You talking about going from high schools to the pro. And then you got Sensei Derek James, who's already done seen your style, picked you apart, and your dad ain't much of a trainer. He's your hype man. Y'all sitting around with your hands in the air doing a little bounce like, yeah. Okay, what does that mean? Now you happy because you won again. Sitting there crying because finally you can breathe again. I can breathe again, I've won. Yeah, but every time you had a big fight, you lost, Danny. And you had so much promise. But I'm not even gonna hold you up. Get there with Spence because you want that payday. And you know Spence was your biggest payday. And you know that you are irrelevant, so you're trying to make yourself relevant again. So you're trying to add controversy to the Spence loss, so it'll be a reason for a rematch. But if you do want a rematch, you better get a belt at 154, and then he will gladly come take it from your hating ass. Now that's crazy, man. Why can't boxers admit when the better man has won? Because the better man has won, Danny. And then you capping, trying to downplay his skills on all these interviews, but you know, you saying this and that, but he was the one that beat you the worst out of Keith Thurman, out of Sean Porter. So what does that say about you? Exactly. But you keep wishing and you keep hoping for a star, and you might get what you don't want. But be careful what you ask for, because you might just get it. And Errol Spence ain't playing no games. You done pissed him off again, Danny. But the only way you're going to get that payday is if you get a belt. If not, you still irrelevant. And that's it. But one last thing before I end this, Danny. It's real people out here that are really depressed. And they're really going through stuff. Errol Spence was thrown through a Ferrari. Broke all the teeth in his mouth. Didn't know if he was going to fight again, walk again. He had to provide for his family. You still in health. Just because a couple of your bodegas was facing COVID crisis, you still had money put up. And you still was healthy and all that. Just because you lose these fights, then you felt depressed because you thought you was better than what you was. Sometimes you have to see who you are and where you stand. Sometimes you can't be the greatest. And see, Earl, he was going through depression, but he didn't put it out there to the media. He didn't ask for sympathy. This man came off a life and death situation and jumped in the ring with you. That means you easy work. He treated you like a cakewalk. And I'm talking about sherbet cake, buddy. With the wintercrest filling. Yes, he did you like that. So, he did that to you. Then you depressed because you got beat by half of a man. But now, you get a win and you moved up weight trying to get a payday. Now you think you can beat the full man. It don't make sense. It don't make sense. The fight gonna be the same thing but worse. But hey, it's up to you. Try what you want. They say the try is to fail. Hey, maybe you can get another shot, maybe you can't. It's up to you if you get a belt or not. And then we're gonna rehash this combo you had about you can beat Spence now. Bernard, you're a hater. Bernard, you're a hater.
I'm actually gonna talk about Spence versus Crawford. Which, like, just using your boxing mind.
I like Bud. I like Crawford. I like Crawford. What? I like. Just take the experience. I think that he has more of that. That's a given. Everybody know he's been at these moments more than Spence. Spence is no joke. It's a fight that Crawford has to come ready. When did he never ever didn't come ready? We all know how Crawford is coming. We know that. We know how he can adjust when things is not going his way. We seen fights that he was in that the second half he turned it around. I haven't seen that type of threat or adversity in that way in a few fights or any fight that he had to actually change the game plan that he had coming in compared to what he settled in and took over. I believe the experience, I believe the age difference is not, in Crawford's situation, is not a factor. What is a factor is the moments in their careers that both fighters has been in that Crawford has been at this stage mentally. He had to go through some rough business chances to get to this stage that is chopping at the bit. I like him in that fight.
You said that you haven't needed, Spence hasn't needed to make the adjustments like like the way Crawford has. Could that be maybe because what Spence does works off the bat and he just kind of dominant from that point where he doesn't need to make the adjustment because he's just rolling?
I think it's just his talent is showing that the guys he went up against, the quality guys that he went up against the guys that Crawford went up against, it's night and day. It's definitely night and day. You only who your opponents are. You only who your opponents are. You can be 30-0. I want to see the opponents you for to justify those 30s-0. So I want to weigh the talent. I'm not saying everybody was lame ducks. But they had no damn chance going in. They didn't even have a chance at the damn press conference, let alone at the weigh-in. So we're going to get to the damn fight. You telling me there's a possibility? There's upsets in cases, and there are surprises. There are upsets, and there are surprises.
With all due respect, aren't you the same boxer that said he would never lose to a white boy? You got knocked out the ring by Joe Smith, and Kovalev gave you the worst whooping of your career. But hold up, let me introduce this upper echelon in the building, and Bernard Hopkins. I'm gonna go kind of slight on you because the way you talking, I'm thinking you getting some damn brain damage from all them hits to the head. And I'm gonna go ahead and say this: you was a very good boxer. You gave us a lot of years, and you've had a long, illustrious career. But one thing I can say that separates you and Earl, y'all record was never the same because you started your career 0-1. You didn't even start as a winner. You was always playing catch up, so you don't know what it is to be a winner, to start from that winning field. And see, you also was a dirty fighter. You brought out all the dirt and all the tricks of the trade. Anything that was dirty that you could do in a boxing match, you would do it, Bernie. Yeah, Bernie. What I don't get is y'all keep talking about their resumes and who they fought, and one fought one and one fought like y'all keep putting all this great precedence on everybody that Crawford fought. And Earl, talking about Earl fighting nobodies, if you think about it, you got it completely backwards. Earl has the more impressive resume and the more fighting statistics that you talking about, the accolades maybe Crawford has, but Earl has the names. He's had the fighters. I'll give you a side-by-side comparison, Bernie, because I don't understand where you come with this. This is the last 15 fights. Number 15 for Crawford is his best fight, and that's Yuriorkis Gamboa. Had Noe. Then he had Ray Beltran against Francisco Castro. Thomas Delorme versus Samuel Vargas. Jerry Dean versus Phil LaGreco. Hank Lundy, that's another good fighter, versus Chris Van Heerden, which is a good fighter. Victor Postile versus Alejandro Barrera. You got John Molina Jr. versus Chris Algieri. Felix Diaz versus Leonard Bundu. You got Julius Idongo versus Kell Brook, the champion in England. Then you got Jeff Horn versus Lamont Peterson. Then you have Jose Benavidez, one leg been shot, versus Carlos Ocampo, 23-0. Then you have Amir Khan, knocked out, washed up, versus Mikey Garcia. Then you have Mean Machine, Sean Porter in his prime with the championship belt. Then you have Kell Brook that's been beat already years prior with a belt, and eye socket injury later, Kell Brook against Danny Garcia. Then you got one foot out the door, done retired, Sean Porter versus Yordanis Ugas, who undoubtedly beat him in the fight, but they gave it to Sean Porter. So we're going to say Crawford's best fights. First, what we're going to do, we're going to take away Sean Porter and Kell Brook off both of their resumes, right? If we do that, Yordenis Ugas, Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, and Lamont Peterson could beat anybody on Terrence Crawford's resume. Those 4 fighters right there could beat anybody on that resume that Crawford has. Either one of them, you guys could wash everybody on there. Danny Garcia could wash everybody on there. Mikey Garcia most definitely would wash everybody on that list. And Lamont Peterson would beat everybody on that list. Hell, Linda Bundu might either. With the 2 same names took away, you got a Wash Demir Khan and a Jose Benavidez with 1 leg. Jeff Horn and Julius Indongo. None of them fighters will beat the 4 that I said. Victor Postol, no. Hank Lundy, he was a great fighter, but he was way too small. But he did give Bud fits in the fight when he was beating on him, when he was switching up, and Bud used his weight to stop the man. But Gamboa was his best win, because taking that from him, Gamboa was a monster back in them days. He was one of my favorite fighters as well, until he went through a whole bunch of adversity and some BS going through his thing. But that's a solid win for Crawford. But Danny Garcia, Mikey Garcia, Lamont Peterson, Ugas will wash everybody on Crawford record. But they sitting there talking about Earl hasn't fought nobody. No, Crawford hasn't fought nobody. And he hasn't fought the talent that he needs to fight a guy like Errol Spence.
I like to see him fight anybody at the top.
Is there a name in particular that you think
Well, look at the division. Take on another champion. We can clear all this stuff up real easy. And the drama part is part of the hype and building things up. But unification is what I always stood for.
Yeah.
So unification of these champions in all divisions is something that I might not live to see it, but hopefully I will be the best thing for everybody, because now you know who's who. And the second guy that comes in second of being undisputed, or if they say champion of being undisputed, behind undisputed, they would have to always have a goal to reach, right? You ain't really get it until you get all the belts. Let's take it back old school and the new school. Let's take this thing back in the old school to new school. So we're in the new school now, 2022.
Yeah.
You know, this ain't the Similac baby era.
Yeah.
You know, this ain't the sugar and water era.
Yeah.
It's something else era. So I'm with that. And then let's mix a little bit of that, mix a little bit of this, and we got a great recipe.
Yes, that's one thing I can say you did. You did unify the belts. You was the first undisputed, Mr. Bernard Hopkins. Shout out to that, and kudos to you. And I appreciate everything you've done for the sport of boxing. Even the fact that you said you'd never get beat by a white boy. And right behind that, Sergey Kovalev beat you the worst of your career. And we don't want to talk about Joe Smith Jr. And after that, let's just go like this. What do you think Errol Spence is doing? He went and fought Kell Brook in the UK for the strap, Sean Porter for the strap, Yordenis Ugas for the strap. Now he's trying to fight your boy Bud Crawford. So he's trying to get the straps together so after he do this, he can move up and do it in junior middleweight. So he's doing what you're saying. He's trying to get the straps together. So how are you faulting him? And how are you saying he hasn't fought nobody when he's done knocked off all the top welterweights in the division except for Crawford? And he has a target on Crawford, and except for Keith Runtime Thurman. But now Keith want to fight him, but Keith didn't want to fight him when he had a chance. Yeah.
He also, Spence also tweeted you. He said he wanted you to provide paperwork regarding Virgil Ortiz's illness. What do you make of that? He was kind of firing back from when you questioned his eye injury being legitimate.
Oh, he sent it. Did he put it out?
Yeah, he tweeted it out.
But did he put it out?
He tweeted it out. Oh no. The proof, he didn't put it out. He didn't put out.
So why are you asking me to do something he didn't do? See, why are you being a messenger so you can go ahead and get punched in your head by somebody else, not by me? See, never be the messenger. Didn't you watch The Godfather? The messenger always get the bad end of the deal. So watch yourself leaving out this door, because I ain't gonna touch you. I'm gonna protect you. I don't even know what's gonna happen, but just make sure that you don't pass a message that really don't make sense, because I think you'd have been more confident saying that if he would have showed what I requested. So how you can't, like, I ain't gonna tip my hand for free. Matter of fact, I ain't gonna tip my hand at all.
Bernie, you always about controversy. See, you've been hating on Earl from the start. And it's crazy because your career was full of controversy. Just like when you did a promo for the Tito fight, you threw the Puerto Rican flag on the floor in New York and Puerto Rico press conference. And you started a riot in the Puerto Rican. You had to be rushed to safety. You know what I'm saying? And then everybody left Golden Boy of color but you. You seen all the stuff that was going on around, how they were backstabbing and treating and putting other people on the shelf and how they were showing favoritism, but that was okay with you as long as you got your bread, right? Now, November 04, Oscar named Bernard the president of the East Coast chapters. So, if you was ahead of the East Coast chapters, why do black fighters get treated so badly? Because you is in a place of power, a position of power. Why didn't you use your influence to make sure black fighters got treated more fairly and got promoted more fairly? Why did you not do that? Or was you too busy worried about your own self and your own financial gain? Started some ridiculous conspiracy theory talking about Errol Spence ducked Pacquiao. You don't believe he had a retina tear and he's scared of Manny Pacquiao and he knew he was going to get beat. That's why he trying to run because he ain't never fought nobody. And dude, do you listen to yourself? Now I'm really starting to think them shots that you took to your head has affected your brain. And this is a real thing. Brain damage is a real symptom. And I feel sorry for you if that's the case. Because Earl would not duck his legacy fight. That's the fight that he wants. And you sitting there talking about proof. The man had proof. The doctors came out. The man had a patch on his eye. The man had the interview with the doctors. Dude, what are you asking for? Like, it's in your face and you still won't accept the truth because you rather take a lie than accept Earl the truth. Exactly. But let's talk about this. Virgil Ortiz was hospitalized because he lost too much weight too fast. But you ain't want to put them things out there, right? That means because he was too big to be fighting in his division and he tried to lose weight with a crash diet. And his body crashed. His body crashed like you did on your pro debut when you lost that fight. And you've been chasing greatness ever since. But you can hate on Earl because he's going to keep laughing all the way to the bank. And Earl has 0 losses. Your first fight was a loss. You lost to Joe Smith, Sergey Kovalev, Chad Dawson. Man, you got Joe Kawasaki, Mr. Don't Lose to White Boy. You lost to daggone Jermaine Taylor, Robert Allen, Sergey Mercado, Roy Jones, Clint Mitchell. So, hell, you got a lot of losses on your record too. But I can't say you fought the best of the best and you fought till you was 50. But you know, if you was more responsible with your money and had a retirement plan, you wouldn't have to did that. So you need to stop trying to hate on Spence because if you look, your boss, the Golden Boy, he's trying to court Spence. Spence, why don't you come on down here to Golden Boy? We can make some money. You steady trashing Spence while your boss is glorifying him. Spence, man, we can make some real big money. You sign with Golden Boy. I guess he ain't talked to you about that, huh? That shows where you rank at on the pay grade system. I bet he'll get rid of you to sign Spence. So don't think that your position there is tenuous because, man, you just another dude to fill the spot, man. You their quota. You know, affirmative action came in and they got you so they can say they got one. Yeah, so stop hating because Spence gonna keep going all the way to the top.
One time is a hater. One time
I'm willing to fight everybody, but the way Floyd is talking about Thurman's ducking Spence, everyone's ducking Spence. You know, go 4 years ago, everyone ducked both one-time Thurman. So let's take care of that. You know what I'm saying? And let's be real. Let's be honest. Amir Khan has more to offer than Errol Spence.
Right, absolutely.
What does he have to offer? Absolutely nothing.
The only thing is that Floyd is not standing behind Amir Khan and challenging you.
So I'm exactly. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So how about I stand behind somebody
and then just have bigger, better fights?
How come you don't want that fight with Spence? That's the fight.
I don't want it.
You're not. I know you said it's all about your health.
Yeah, the moment's not now.
What?
It's not today and it's not tomorrow. Doesn't mean that it's not a fight that's gonna happen, right?
And I wonder why Keith Thurman is keep ducking Errol Spence. Everybody is ducking Errol Spence.
Errol Spence wants his mandatory with Cal Brook.
Keith, one-time Thurman, your old hating ass. You sitting there talking about Amir Khan has more to offer than Spence. Then you keep saying this and that. You'll make the Spence fight. Yes, you want the Spence fight. But unfortunately, you was denied you in the Spence fight. You told Spence to get a belt and then you could fight. But before then, you said he has no experience. He's too green. So he went across seas to England, got a belt, came back. He beat the man that all y'all was scared of, the special one, Kell Brook. Then he come back to you, now you hurt. But the reason why you mad at people because you had them fooled. People thought you was this tough, thorough individual. I did too. When I seen you take on Sean Porter and Danny Garcia, I said, boy, Runtime is that man. But you turned from one time to Runtime because you seen this young wolf behind you. What happened to the Keith? Yo, Paulie, don't duck me, son. You better not duck me, son. What happened to that same energy? You got Errol Spence, he been on your ass since 2017. And you say you want the belts, he had a belt. But you continue to get an injury after injury. I'm starting to think you was made of glass. And then when you come back, you talking about this is a step up year for you. You're not gonna make any big fights, quote unquote. Then you have a nerve to take a championship fight with Manny Pacquiao. Yes, that's a Hall of Fame fight. Yes, I do believe that is a great fight. But you said you wasn't taking no big fights, and you said when you do it's for a belt. Now you went out there, you tried to steal the church's money, and Manny Pacquiao old ass put you in the dirt. He put you right on your ass, and you thought you was gonna skate by with it. And it's funny because that's karma. All that time you was sitting there ducking Errol Spence, wouldn't give him a chance. Now, like he says, times have changed. Now he the big fish. Now you sitting there looking all crazy and shit. Yeah, Runtime. It's a sad shame now, ain't it? Keith Runtime Thurman. And you had the buildings to be someone great. Not taking nothing away from you, but you just was a smart fighter. People, they give you credit for your intelligence. And see, I seen the play. I seen it. See, when you fought Danny Garcia and Sean Porter, you was able to get 5-6 quick rounds fast on him because you know Danny Garcia is a count puncher. He don't start fast. And you know you can outpoint Sean Porter. So you went ahead, jumped up on them scorecards and cruised your way to a victory. You know with Errol Spence, that ain't what's gonna work. You knew that was gonna be a hard knock, grueling fight. And you knew he was going to test your limits. And you couldn't get away from him because he's the best at cutting off the rings. And you know you weak in the body and you knew he was going to test your guts. He was going to knock food that you ate a week prior up out of you. He was going to de-rehydrate you. Yeah, I said it, de-rehydrate you. And you understood that. So you made a calculated decision and it failed on you. Now you sitting here looking back, thinking what it could have been and what it should have been, and talking about everything is everything with Keith Thurman in it. No, we've been fine without you. You ain't trying to make the fights with him then, so why should he want to make them with you now? Yeah, it's funny how shit come around now, you dig?
Styles makes fights, and I think Crawford or Thurman just have the potential, the right type of potentiality to challenge Spence.
Ugas seems to be next for Spence. Yeah, both of them. How do you see that fight playing out? And do you almost maybe want to root for Ugas in the sense that he hasn't said anything about not fighting you, and Spence has?
Okay, that part, yes. But the other part is, look, man, he can constantly say what he wants on an opinion. Let Al write up the contract. Let him see what's really on the table. Is he really gonna stay away from Thurman? Is he really gonna avoid me that much? Does he got that much hatred? Look, at the end of the day, Ugas, Spence, great fight. Ugas Thurman, better fight. Spence Thurman, better fight. Thurman Crawford, better fight. Thurman versus your mama, great fight.
Okay, see now that you've been denied and you see that history's gonna be made without you, now you're trying to insert Keith Thurman in there.
Now you going hard for these belts because you don't have a belt. You see, Errol Spence and Terrence Crawford is about to make history. And that's what you always wanted, was to make history. This is a fight that is legendary. 41 years in the making. The best versus the best. And no, Keith Thurman, you're not the best. You got beat by a retired Manny Pacquiao. Yes, a retired Manny Pacquiao who Ugas beat, who Earl smashed. Yes, you got beat by that. So you versus any of these fighters would not be a good fight. It'll be an ass whooping. You failed to stop a rising 140-pounder, Mario Barrios, in y'all fight. And then you pull some strings with Sula and make it a title eliminator fight, which Earl still is not going to honor. But when Mario Barrios fought Gervonta Tank Davis, who moved up from 135, Gervonta Tank Davis dropped him 3 times and stopped him viciously. But the other side of that coin is, you dropped Mario Barrios none, and he hurt you to the body, made you spit your damn mouthpiece out. So, Keith, the time has passed you by, Mr. Runtime. You are probably like a good gatekeeper right now because you didn't take boxing the way you should have. Like, you let your premium years go past, and don't get it wrong, you were a pretty good fighter. Maybe even pretty great, a little bit. But your style, it's a pure boxing style, which you had power in your hands. But if a person got on your ass and came ruling like an Errol Spence, it would negate everything you had. Like Jose Cito Lopez was on your ass. Like a front foot dominant boxer will be your downfall. If a person can keep up a high octane and a high pressure on you, you wouldn't know what to do with it, Keith Thurman. And that's why you avoided Spence for so long. But now you trying to do any and everything, trying to poke at the bear, trying to get back into relevance. But no, you're not being in relevance no more. Earl said he'll drop the belts before he fights you. He'll move up before he fights you. That's no, Keith Thurman. Like a woman tells a man, no means no, Thurman. Talking about Thurman versus Crawford would be a great fight, or Thurman versus Spence would be a better fight. No, Spence versus Crawford will be a great fight. It will be the best fight. It'll be a history-making fight. And this history is going to happen without Keith Runtime Thurman. I'm sorry, but your ship has sailed. You had a chance to stop this young giant before he got started. You should have stopped this railroad train before he got a moving of steam, because Errol Spence is the juggernaut. And once the juggernaut gets to rolling, there's no way you can stop him. Nothing can stop him. And you're lucky that he doesn't just pit stop and roll right over you, Keith Thurman. But he gonna leave you to young things like Boots in them, because you ain't got no wins here.
I'm healthy and I'm ready. From beginning, when I stepped on the scene, I said I wanted this belt. I said I wanted that belt. I told you guys I want to grab all the belts, you know. So I'm still on a mission, but my health comes first.
It's not that enticing with these world titles all snagged up by 2 fighters right now, you know. Sean Porter, Keith Thurman fought Danny Garcia. But when Keith Thurman fought Sean Porter and Danny Garcia, world titles were on the line. So for 2 champions, Errol Spence Jr. and Bud Crawford, to be holding on to all 4 of the belts right now, it just hurts the welterweight division as far as making some of the most exciting fights, because some of the most exciting fights deserve.
You want to talk about holding belts is hurting the welterweight division? How about Mr. Keith Thurman, who held the WBA and the WBC hostage for 2 years without making a fight? You had to give up the WBC because you were so inactive. Keith, you fought 3 times in 5.5 years. You held up belts, Keith. So don't give me that. And you also was the one that wanted to get this belt, that belt, and that belt. Wasn't your dream to make it undisputed? So when Keith Thurman was snatching up the belts, when Keith Thurman unified the belts, it was okay. But when the young, hungry lion, Errol, the true Spence, started snatching up the belts like Keith Thurman wanted to, who Keith Thurman denied, then it's a motherfucking problem. I'm sorry, excuse my French, but it's el problemo. Now you want to sit here and cry to anybody to listen to it. Cry yourself a river, Keith. And if you really want to do something, won't you become more proactive in the situation? If you're smart enough, why don't you head up to 154 and challenge Jermell Charlo? And then, if you get that, then Earl has no choice but to come through you. Use your brain. Stop trying to get Al Heyman to give you a gift. because he's been gifting you with fights your whole freaking career since you got the belts. He's been padding you like Rocky on number 3 when Clubber Lane says you are paper champ. You ain't fighting nobody, champ. And that's the problem. You haven't been fighting nobody since you got the belts. You lost your passion. You lost your hunger. And now you see history being made. And now you got that green eye of jealousy, that envy in your eye. So now you want to hate. Hate don't look good on you, Keith Thurman. But you can hate all you want to. You can beg all you want to. But the super fight is happening with or without Keith Thurman. Better without it. Better be glad and ask them, can you at least commentate on it? That way you can hate on Errol Spence on the front row. That way you can try to sway the judges because, hey, the man is better than you. Crawford is better than you. And you done passed your prime. You like an old prostitute that's been on the damn block too long. It's time for her to just pack it in. You know, I mean, you still a good fighter, but hey, them young guns are gonna be on your tail. You got Boots the dad gonna deal with. You got Ortiz. Like, you got Ugas, Stanionis. But you're getting kind of high in your prime, Thurman. But instead of sitting around eating bonbons and hating on Spence, why don't you go to the gym, get yourself back in fighting shape, and get ready to come out here and damn make a statement? Because last time I checked, you was over 180 damn pounds. What the damn thing is you doing, Thurman? Runtime. Get your shit together. Get your mind right. So what you need to do is get in the gym and get your life back in order and get your body back right. If you even hope to compete with somebody at this level, because if you got that call right now, you wouldn't be ready, Mr. 188 pounds. So yes, you can keep hating on Earl from the side, and guess what? It ain't gonna stop the unification bout with him and Crawford. So see you later, hater.